Good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PI Dream, U.S. edition. Remember, we are back in the U.S. right now on a summer vacation here in Charleston, South Carolina. And you've probably been wondering, hey James, where have you been the last few days? We haven't seen any videos. Well, anyway, I was visiting, or I had family visiting with me here at our home in Charleston. We had some of the grandkids here, and it was one of those private family affairs. So we made a wonderful time with our family, and we did some visiting downtown Charleston, and we'll do that with you as well on one of our trips where we show you the wonderful town of Charleston, South Carolina. But this morning I'm ready to get back to work, and it's about time to start working on the koi pond project. Now, as you know, my koi pond project, most of it was accomplished before I went to the Philippines in 2016. And then it sat over the entire time that we were working on the build of Villa Feliz. Well, anyway, we're going to get re-engaged to this koi pond project and try to get this thing working. Remember, this is my first koi pond, my big koi pond. I have a small one that I worked on, but this is the one that is on a larger scale than the very small one that I worked on. This is about a 5,000 gallon koi pond. And what we will do as we go along further on down the stage of the development here, we will talk about how I started the design of this koi pond, and if you're interested in koi pond design and implementation, we will talk about some of the equipment that I chose, why I chose some of those pieces of equipment and devices for the koi pond, and how we're going to maintain it and build it. So the objective of today's video is to start working again on the life support area. And the life support area is going to house the pumps, the filtration system, and everything we need to do for maintenance, whatever the maintenance period is that we have to do for cleaning out and flushing the filtration system and things like that. But before we get started, we have to build a life support system. So the objective of today's video is to get the slab poured so we can start building that shelter around the slab and then start connecting up all the life support devices. So let's go ahead and get today started. So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. So what we're going to do today is we're going to define the area of our concrete slab that's going to be used as a support for the base of our shed. And we're just going to take some stakes. I have some wooden stakes here, and I have a sledgehammer, and I have a tape measure, and I believe it's 69.5 by 44.5 is what we need for our base. We'll define that, and then we'll make sure that it's all square later before we put the formwork that goes around, and we'll set the some gravel in the bottom, and then we will put some rebar support, and then we will pour some concrete, and we will have our slab. And we will also, what we'll do, we'll get some type of anchor bolts that we will set inside the concrete so that we can secure the shed to the slab. So in the event that we do have something like a hurricane here, which is expected in this part of the United States on the East Coast, that it doesn't fly away, and it maintains the integrity of providing support for all of our life support system. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started on that. All right, well, I am done with lunch. Ness and I just sat here on the back porch and we had some lunch. And you can see I got a rudimentary frame around here. I just use scraps. I don't want to put any money into this. I don't want to buy more framing material or anything like that. So I had a bunch of leftover pieces of wood inside the garage, so I put a small form around the outside. I'll go to the Lowe's now. We'll run over to Lowe's. We'll go pick up some gravel. We will grab some more cement mix, and we'll try to get this in today and let it cure. And then tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, we'll start working on some of the life support system. I don't know, or maybe we'll wait a couple days and allow the cement to cure well. Or well, actually, maybe tomorrow what we'll do is we will start cutting holes in the bottom of the shed that fits on top of the slab back there. But before we go, I think we have a few shout outs. We haven't done shout outs in a while. Remember, we haven't been doing any episodes here lately. So before I run off the Lowe's, let's do a few shout outs. And I have one anniversary and 2 birthday shout outs for today. Anyway, the first one is going to be the anniversary shout out, and it's for Mike and Perla Newton, and they celebrated their 36th wedding anniversary on the 17th of April. And the couple said that they were married in downtown Angeles City when Mike was stationed at Clark Air Force Base. Anyway, to Mike and Perla, we want to wish both of you a happy anniversary. And also on the belated front, and it's a couple of belated birthdays. Remember, the reason these are belated is because we haven't been broadcasting any episodes. We had our family here all this week, and that was some of our private time. So anyway, the 2 birthdays, we have Danny Iberg, who was from Raleigh, North Carolina, who had a birthday on April 17th, as well as one of our longtime subscribers way back when, one of the originals. And he is Paul Still, our Englishman from Mexico City, who turned 69 on April 18th. So anyway, both to you, Denny and Paul, we want to wish you both a happy birthday. Okay, back from Lowe's. Now I'm going to add the concrete mix that I bought now. I got many bags of concrete mix inside the garage, as you saw earlier. So the first thing we're going to do, we need to get that gravel down. We'll tamper it down, and then we'll do some concrete mixing. Alright, now I've got the gravel kind of spread out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this small tamper. It's like a 6x6 or 10x10 tamper right here. And we'll just tamper all of this rock that we put down here, get it nice and firm inside, and then what we'll do, once that gets done, then we'll start mixing up some concrete mix. And by the way, the concrete mix that we have is a mix. It has gravel built into it, and it has the Portland cement, and it has the consistency or the ratio consistent to what's on the bag. So if it's a 4,000 psi or 5,000 psi, depending on your application. 5,000 psi for back here is really overkill. But I have 5 bags of the 5,000 psi, high strength and quick curing time. But I also grabbed some other one that is 4,000 psi, which is more than enough for patios and for doing posts. If you're doing posts for fence posts, especially if you're doing the wood fence posts or things like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get this stuff tampered down. Okay, one thing we have to do before we mix up our cement, I forgot to tell you, we got to put down some rebar. Remember, rebar gives strength to the concrete. Just remember, we're not going to put a lot of weight on this pad back here, but we're going to put the steel reinforcement, the rebar, in anyway. Well, it's always good to tie your rebar together with each other. So you can buy a bag of these little hook ties inside here, and you take it and you wrap it around a couple of pieces of the rebar. All right, with the rebar in place, the gravel down, we are ready to start mixing some cement. Now normally you would read what's on the side of the bag, and it will tell you how much water per bag that they have inside there. But after you get to doing it for a while, you start getting to understand the consistency, and you'll just use your spray hose and you'll mix it up to what you think is right. Remember, too much water inside will weaken your concrete mix. So anyway, let's go ahead and mix some concrete and get this slab down. that's it for today. The goal was reached. Remember, the goal for today was to get the slab in place, and we got the slab in place. What I'm going to do, even though we're closing right now, as it starts to dry, because it's going to get dark here pretty soon, I'm going to take this little tool that I have here, and this tool, you see it's rounded on the edge, and what I'm going to do, as this starts to dry a little bit right here, I'm going to come around the edge so the edge isn't pointed. I got to wait for it to dry just a little bit more before I can do that, and that gives it a finish similar to this right here. You can see on the edge of the pond itself, and that way there's nothing sharp, and it's a little safer, and it looks a bit nicer too. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We might let this cure for a couple of days, and then what we're going to have to do is then we're going to start working on the base that's sitting inside the garage. We're going to have to cut the holes to fit around the pipes, and then what I'm going to do, I will be explaining to you what all these little letters on here, WF, TPR, settlement, and one that said, a skimmer down there, and air. And what we'll do is we will talk a little bit more about each one of the segments that make up the pond life support system. So that's it for today. I know it wasn't really exciting, but it's exciting for me because this is a project that's been sitting on the shelf for over a year while I was building Feliz. And you're probably asking yourself, James, why are you continuing to build this one when you're planning on retiring in the Philippines? Well, I didn't know that it was going to be a full retirement. I didn't know the Philippines was going to be so great when I started building Feliz. And it's actually a paradise. The Philippines is a paradise. And where we're building at, it's a wonderful place, and that's where I want to call home. But before then, this is where I wanted to call home, and I started on this project right here. And I need to follow it through. It's something that I take pride in. When I start something, I like to complete it. And no matter what, we still have the house here in the U.S., and we can come back and we can enjoy the waterfall and the sound of the water. And if we can have somebody maintaining fish inside when we're gone, we can have them do that as well. But until we do full retirement, we can still full retire in the Philippines. Oh, that was a mosquito. Until we can do that, what we'll do is right here, we will, there's a lot of mosquitoes in South Carolina, I will tell you right now, especially near the coastline. And it is the bewitching hour. It's around 5 o'clock, and this is when they all start coming out. Dusk and dawn. So anyway, like I was saying, we want to enjoy this while we have it here. So we'll complete this. I'm so close to completing this project. So anyway, tomorrow we'll see if we're going to do any work on here. If we let it sit, then the next day, which is going to be Sunday, we'll continue work on it on Sunday. So that being said, I'm going to close for today. So if you enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up. Please share, and if you have not subscribed, just click on that little My PI Dream heart in the bottom right hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed, and you'll be notified the next time I upload a new video. So until next time we start working on the koi pond here, you have a wonderful and blessed day.